Hi, I'm Wolf, and welcome to Arcanaignition. I hope you're all having a easeful and not too disorienting Mercury retrograde. And I am excited to answer a question today. So, this question is from my friend Hadass. And Hadass's question is very simple and very poignant and very beautiful. And her question is, how can I find self-love? And I love this question. And part of why it's so exciting for me to answer this question is because this has been something I've been working on in my own life in a very intentional and dedicated way for the past 7 or 8 months. So one of the things I love about tarot is if Hadass just asked me, how can I find self-love? I would tell her all the ways I've been working on finding self-love. Well, I drew myself a self-love sigil, and I etched it onto my self-love candle, and I had sex with a lot of people on my birthday, and I got myself massages. So that would be just if she was my buddy being like, how do I find self-love? But she didn't ask me. She asked my tarot cards. So here I am using my tarot cards to answer this question. All right, here we go. Okay, my dear Hadass, how do you find self-love? All right, 7 of Swords. 7 of Swords. This is the card of the sneaky mofo. So he's trying to get away with something. Swords are about intellect. They represent air. They represent thought. They represent discernment. And 7 represents action. So it's interesting that in this card, action combined with thought, there's a bit of don't overthink it energy. And he's got them hidden under his cloak, and he's climbing a wall at what looks like maybe dusk. So what are we trying to get rid of? My guess is somebody told you, or somehow you received a message very early on that self-love is not permissible. And some process of your self-love adventure is going to involve sneaking it past all these parts of you that are really not down with this self-love mission. All right, the next card I'm pulling is the Hermit. All right, girl. This is your journey, and you don't find self-love from other people. I know that sounds obvious, but actually that's not totally my self-love journey. A lot of my self-love journey involved other people, and yours involves your own inner light. It involves finding your own way. And it might be lonely. Self-love can be a lonely experience in a world where a lot of people don't love themselves. And my last card for you is the Knight of Swords. All right. He's an intrepid mofo. He's taking his sword and he is taking action with it. He's taking his sword and he's coming down out of the clouds and deciding things and enforcing them. So, how do these 3 cards work together to tell us something as a whole? Well, I'm noticing these 2 cards are looking back. And I think you're gonna have to dig deep and solve something in you that feels like the self-love you're seeking isn't something you can do openly. I think you're really gonna have to look at what it is, and maybe you're not gonna be able to do it openly. And yeah, you are gonna have to do it alone. And it is gonna take your riding out of a cloud with thunder and confidence. Yeah. I want to pull you some more cards, Hadass. How does that sound? I'm gonna pull 3 more, and they're each gonna be linked to. Each card is gonna be linked to the card above it. So the next card I am pulling for you is the King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles. This dude is abundant AF. So he's a really great benefactor. He's got a lot to spare. And I'm going to ask you, who in your life right now is overflowing with abundance? Is there some part of you that feels really generous and able to give? Because that is the part that can communicate with whoever's having to sneak around. And then I'm going to pull another card. And we have another sword. And this time it is the 2 of Swords. And this is the make a decision already card. So this, along with the Knight of Swords, is telling me that this is a decision-making matter. This self-love stuff, it's something that's gonna click up here. It's something that you're gonna think yourself into. And I have it with the Hermit. So again, this puts the onus on you. You are making the decision. You know where the light is. You. And then the card I'm pulling to give me insight about the Knight of Swords is the 8 of Pentacles. So 8 of Pentacles is this long, slow crafting project. This creation, bit by bit, patience, long-term planning, thinking, moving. And I like that it crosses with the Knight of Swords. Because on the one hand, you have this plunging ahead energy, and on the other hand, you have this slow plotting energy. And what I'm seeing here is that both are required. There is this force of will. There is this decision-making and rushing in and deciding and owning it. And it's all part of a really long-term project. So it's interesting because this is what my self-love journey looked more like. This methodical, centered, grounded kind of, I'll do this and then this and then this kind of thing. And that's useful. And it can temper and support this real intrepid action. And I'm just going to pull you one more card as a general advice card in this How to Find Self-Love thing. And it's the High Priestess. High Priestess. Oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. She's so wise. She's so intense. She doesn't have a ton of humor. And I like to think of the Priestess as the cosmic void. If the magician is the Big Bang, then the High Priestess is the however many billion years, all the elements that came out of the Big Bang and spent just floating around in space, and then enough of them bumped into each other enough to coalesce and create stars and planets, and ta-da, here we are. But this is before all of that. This is the floating in space part. And it's very tranquil. It's very centered. She knows so much about who she is. So when this card comes up as advice, the advice that this gives is meditate, is tap into your inner power. I'm seeing the moon, so go hang out in the moonlight. And strip it back. This is real elemental. This is a really basic, deep, original part of your feminine energy. The card right after this is the Empress, where the feminine energy starts to get sexy. And this is pre-sexy. She has a book. She has a, what is she holding here right now? She's holding some kind of snow globe. She's got some kind of perspective on the world. So, my advice to you, my dear Hadass, is to tap into and rediscover the part of you that feels like you're getting away with something just to love yourself. And do that through being unspeakably abundant. And be by yourself and follow your own light and your own guidance. And you can do that by just deciding to. And finally, be intrepid and daring. And you can do that by the long, slow, hard work, which I know you are already engaged in. And finally, go sit under the moon. Go sit under the full moon. Go connect yourself fully to the new moon. And listen to that small, still voice that is your high priestess speaking. This is your card, baby. This is your card. High priestess. This is you. This is what you look like when you are loving yourself right now. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. You can send your questions to arcanaignition@gmail.com. I hope that was helpful for you. I'm Wolf, and this is Arcana Ignition.